So this is the race we've got coming, the PR1 men's singles. And in many ways, this is the race of the three Ps. Ben Pritchard, Roman Polianski, and Giacomo Perini. The three of them will be on this side of the course, but I'm sure these competitors on the far side of the course will have something to say about that, Martin.
Yeah, I couldn't see Polianski on the start line. There is Markus Klemp from the Bundeswehr, and he is over there in lane 1. The Frenchman from Marseille, Alexis Sanchez, yet to qualify. This man has qualified, finished 5th in last year's World Championships. A lecturer, rows in the Daniel Rowing Centre in Tel Aviv. There is Britain's world bronze medalist, Ben Pritchard. We'll talk about his love of coffee through the race. There's the Ukrainian world champion, the amazing Roman Polianski from Madkiva in the Donetsk province of Ukraine. And the Italian, very proud, as you can see, pumping his chest there. The 27-year-old burst into the sport 2 or 3 years ago into parasport, and he has made it his home ever since. Known for the duels he has head-to-head with Polianski.
Yeah, it was the European Championships 2 years ago where we first saw Giacomo Perini appear on the scene, and he won those European Championships back in Munich. He won the European Championships last year in rowing, but Polianski had it at the World Championships. So it's the two scullers over here who've been reallocated. We expect them to be the fastest. Ben Pritchard then, I'm sure, will be trying to get into it. Those three, as we've said, gold, silver and bronze medalists from the World Championships.
He's quite relaxed, Ben Pritchard, in the, the others are sat forward ready to go, and Ben's just sat at the back.
Yeah, that's why I was still chatting, to be honest, because
yeah.
I could see Ben Pritchard was sitting there at the finish, the French sculler as well. So we can hear the heartbeat being played over the course here. But I think up at the start, they've just been called forward now, and we are about to go.
Well, Markus Klemp was very conservative off the start there and immediately lost the length. The 41-year-old German. We're riding with Ben Pritchard there. Strong man. Look at the strength in that upper body, Greg.
Yeah, huge upper body, all these athletes, but Ben Pritchard particularly, you can see his shoulders working to get the boat moving out of the start. It was a terrible start for Markus Klemp on the far side. We could see him, he was just at the back of the shot now, but a good start from the French sculler over in lane 2.
Yeah, he's just had a look there. Alexis Sanchez, I think they've been training on Temple-sur-Lot. We were talking to their chief para coach yesterday, and I think that's where the French team have been based prior to coming out here to Hungary. There we ride with Perini. Looks a little more conservative off the start. The world's best time is 8:50, which I think is held by Polianski. And I guess they're going to be coming down this sort of track in about 9.5 minutes or something like that.
Well, it is a strong headwind, so we expect them to be slower, but this is a surprise, really. The sculler over here, the French sculler up here in lane 2, has got such a big early lead. Of course, it's a long race. You can see they're just through 2:50, 17:50 more to go. Polianski now, we're seeing him, and you can see just how well he's digging in, how well he's really kind of holding that work into this headwind, which will make it even stronger and even more connected.
To be honest, I don't see much favoured wind conditions for the lanes on this near side. That's the right of your picture that you're looking at. The far lanes were favoured, the ones on the left of your picture, definitely earlier today. There is Shamil Daniel, the 38-year-old lecturer. He's back in 4th place. Polianski has come through Perini, as he generally does. He's a strong favourite to win this. He's very conservative off, isn't he, Roman? And then you see this amazing surge through the latter parts of the race. But Sanchez, I've not seen him go out as quick as this before.
Yeah, Sanchez starting very strongly over there, and the Frenchman is going to lead through the first 500-metre mark we're coming up to now. And yeah, he's got that early lead. Maybe that's a little bit of a surprise, but I'm also surprised that we see how far Perini has let the race move away from him. That's a little bit of clear water now that Polianski has, and in some ways Polianski tends to be a more steady and consistent performer.
Yeah, it tends to be the higher rate of striking. Of course, the duels we've seen between Polianski and the Australian parasculler Eric Horry, classic duels in the history of this sport. Just a reminder, as we see from that shot, you see the Ben Pritchard, they're not using his slide, and this is because these PR1 rowers, they have no or minimal trunk function, so they're really able to apply the force predominantly using their arms and shoulders, and they might have impairment in terms of sitting function, which is why the high-tech seats that each of these athletes have, designed at probably great expense, are so important.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the high-tech seats, that each of the athletes you can see have got a slightly different setup to suit their individual mobility situation. Polianski, here you see he looks quite high up within the boat. I know when we look at Ben Pritchard, his has worked with a Formula One style team, and it's really tucked around him, that seat.
I tell you what I find interesting is Polianski's arm brake, because you kind of tell people, you know, keep your arms straight. But I remember great scullers like Katrin Boren, the German sculler. She had an arm brake too, and I guess it's because they've got the force in their lats. Ben Pritchard, you see him to the left of the picture, he's got quite straight arms.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Ben and how he leaves those arms out straight to get maximum length from them. So he makes that connection, really trying to use his hands and his wrists, not using the arm brake too early, as opposed to we can see with this beautiful picture. Thank you to our director for getting us that shot. Those arms braking, as you say, Martin, to lock the blades. And you could say, yeah, he's wasting a little bit of length by doing that.
Yeah, so the battle of the three Ps that we predicted hasn't quite turned out that way. Perini, Polianski and Pritchard. It is the Italian Giacomo Perini who is out of shot.
Out of sight but not out of mind. You're going to see it as we come up here towards the 1,000-metre mark, and I think what you'll see when we get a shot of Giacomo Perini on this near side is that he's come level pretty much with the French sculler, I think.
Yeah, it would be a big surprise. You're just right there, Greg, coming into the shot. So we're through 1,000 metres, and there's the Ukrainian Polianski, big lead, no one's going to get through to him. Perini is just challenging Ben Pritchard for second place. Perini did get that second place at the Worlds last year, and Ben got the bronze medal. So it was the 1-2-3, and our question was, is the 1-2-3 going to stay that way? And at the moment it probably is, as we see these shots from our tracking camera right down low at water level, Greg.
Yeah, again, lovely to see. We were speaking to some of the rowers who'd raced in the morning session, and they were saying that the headwind is stronger than it looks. I completely agree with you, Martin. It looks like it's become a pretty much straight headwind now, which I think is fantastic. And if anything, it looks like it's dropped somewhat from this morning. So good news for the afternoon set of races we're bringing you. If it stays like this looks to me extremely fair and really not like it's affecting the racing either.
So Ben and Giacomo behind Roman there are going to have a real battle, the British and Italian scullers. Perini looks like he's really digging in. Ben Pritchard, he looks cool and smooth, a massive coffee fan, as we were saying. And I think if you get down to Coltan Coffee Company in South Wales, Ben Pritchard is very close with them, and you can contact him on Instagram and he'll send you coffee. One of his big hobbies.
So you can see he's trying to hang on there to Polianski, but he's pretty much side by side with Giacomo Perini. The graphic is showing you that in the bottom right corner, as we see Perini there taking a look to his right. He was a little bit slower off than we might have expected him, but he's really coming on strongly now in the middle of the race and putting a lot of pressure on for that silver medal.
Yeah, and Perini's using that body swing a lot more than some of the other athletes are able to. I know Ben gets that body swing over. I guess Polianski looks a little bit shorter in terms of where he comes out forward, but he does have that higher stroke rate to compensate. And if you compare Polianski to Perini, quite different technique.
Well, that's how it works. We see Ben Pritchard here, somewhere in the middle of those two, like you say, that he's getting maximum length that he can from his body lean, trying to lock those sculls into the water, and he moves the boat really nicely past them. As we're seeing here, Polianski, it's a slightly shorter stroke, and if we get a shot of Perini, you'll see he gets a little bit more body length that allows him to then use a slightly lower stroke rate because he's going slightly further per stroke.
So Perini just looks like he's got his bows in front of Ben Pritchard. Let's check through the 1500. There we see the Ukrainian former para-canoeist, 37 years of age. Perini is going to go through in second place ahead of the Brit, and then in fourth place it is the fast starting Alexis Sanchez. from France, the youngest competitor in this race at 25. Not often we see a young para sculler, really, is it? You see most of them are quite mature in, you know, their late 20s, 30s, or maybe 40s.
Well, he is a mature performer, isn't he? Roman Polianski at the front of the field. He's won every race, every World Championship since 2019. Here he is when it comes to World Championships or the Paralympics. He steps up. Giacomo Perini did beat him at the European Championships, but today as we're coming in here, Perini has made a strong move, and if you look, he's definitely now very solidly in the silver medal position. I do just wonder if he might be able to raise that stroke rate. You can see he's at 38, so I said he was lower rating. He's now picked the stroke rate right up and tried to make a move. 2:50 to go now on Polianski.
I'm looking to my left, and if this was like rowing in the single sculls, you'd say they didn't have enough water, but because these athletes are obviously moving slower than the single scullers who can use the slide, maybe there's time for Perini. But remember, Polianski has got a fearsome sprint. We've seen him come through the Aussie Eric Horry in World Championships, and you know, maybe that's in his back pocket.
Well, let's see. You've got the graphic in the corner of the shot there. The gap is about 10 metres. Boat number 5 we're going to see here. This will be Polianski. He's got this solid lead. You can only imagine how much that is hurting in terms of that lactic acid in his arms and in his shoulders, that pain he's going to be feeling. He'll be delighted to be in those red buoys. He'll have seen that Ukrainian flag waving for him. A really popular competitor with the whole crowd as people are coming to their feet now, coming towards us in the grandstand.
Yeah, and it is a very big crowd. Fantastic atmosphere in the grandstand. Great fan zone away to our left. Ben Pritchard, I think, has done well. He's kind of moved back a bit on Perini. Perini's not going to catch Polianski as we come up to the line. European champion in 2024, as he was in 2023. The Ukrainian Roman Polianski comes up to the line. Gold medal for the man from Makiva in the Donetsk province. Giacomo Perini, really well judged second half of the race. And Ben Pritchard there, the Welshman, coming in to third place. Beautiful smile from Roman Polianski. Sanchez is going to grab fourth. I think it's the Israeli Shamil Daniel who's going to grab fifth, and that slow start from Marcus Klemp have condemned him to sixth place in this final.
Yeah, well, some lovely shots we saw of what was a great race. It started in quite an interesting way, really, with Alexis Sanchez, the French sculler. We see him on the screen there. Extremely brave the way he took that on. But then it came down to the real quality, the real classy athlete at the front of the field, Roman Polianski. He just got it right through that middle.
The lad Sanchez, I think he's got to qualify, and he couldn't qualify through the Europeans, presumably because France already had a number of crews qualified for the Paralympics. Yeah,
because we've got the European qualifying regatta for the Paralympics and Olympic events going on here in parallel to this event. We see confirmation there. It was the 3 Ps of Polianski, Perini and Pritchard in the same order as the World Championships last year.